So one of the things that I like to do in my spare time, and I figured I would stream it since I was just going to take some time to just to chill and do some animation on a lazy Sunday, is I like to take the characters that are in the library, in the Moho library, and I like to see how they were rigged, how they were animated, and see if there's anything I can learn from it. One particular set of rigs and animations that I look at is Victor Paredes. He's got a lot of good animations and characters inside the library in Moho from the various years that he's been using the software. So it's really cool to see how he's improved, but also how he's changed up his rigs. A lot of his animations, some of them are like point animation completely. And so, yeah, that's one of the animations I like to look at. So this is one of his that he did that I redid. I'll show you the original one. So this is his rig and his character, but I reanimated it. Let's see, it's this guy. Where's the logo? There we go. Oops, I didn't want to open it in the same file. That was a bad idea. Let's delete. Okay. So this is the Moho library. This is where I look for inspiration and stuff. And underneath of scenes and Victor Paredes, he's got a lot of his different things that he's worked on. So here is his. It's a lot faster as far as the timing. The motion's a little bit different. His animations are very quick and snappy, I've realized after looking at a bunch of his animations. And the rigging that he's done is really cool. Usually, as far as I know, he always has a designer. Rarely do I see that it's his own designs, which is totally fine. He's got a lot of cool designs that whoever does the designs for him does. So that's his, and then this is mine. So you can see I slow down the timing and everything on the animation. This character is a little tricky because I think I might need to add some more timing, but you can barely see that leg past the other leg. So it almost looks like he's doing some weird skip. Because you can't really see that leg. They're two black strokes, and it's hard to see those strokes passing over one another. Okay, so we got a few people here. Someone's asking how to get a free Moho license. Well, as you can see, I have the chats also posted, so you can see it in the screen. That's kind of just a stream template that I'm working on. I don't really have anything in mind so far, so this is a very simple stream template that took me about half an hour to build yesterday. So yeah, so that's one of the things that I like to do. So I'll leave this guy running until I find some other logo that I can replace him with, or other animation. But again, I just go through here. This one's really cool. This one's really cool how he did the rigging and the animation. This is one that I was looking at yesterday. Let's see. He's got quite a bit in here. Again, as near as I can tell, he has a designer who designs his things, and then he goes in and rigs it and animates it. And a lot of the rigging is really, really clever as well. Let's see here. Let's go back to this one, because I like this one. This one's a cool one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a new file. And we'll just go ahead and just close that actually. New. So I can't really tell. Yeah, so illustration by Maritza Pina. So I can't really tell what is going on with this type of animation. It looks like yeah, like you got this guy with a tongue out. Like I don't really know what's happening there. But yeah, so you got looks like these guys are catcalling her or following her or something, and she's aggravated and irritated by it. So one of the things that I like to do is just take a look at how everything was rigged in this character animation. So as you can see here, this is pretty unique. You have this truck, and it has all these guys inside of it. And the rig itself, as far as this truck, what you can do to see how things are rigged, if it's vector animation, it's most likely either going to be point or flexi binding. If it's well, I guess it kind of depends. But if it's bitmap, like say someone created it in Photoshop, then it's most likely layer binding or flexi binding as well. But as far as this rig right here, if I click on the actual layer, let's see, is that what I'm looking for? Yeah, it looks like this layer labeled camioneta, which is truck in Spanish. It looks like it is a layer binding, as near as I can tell. I can't remember what it's supposed to look like. Oh, no, probably not layer binding. I'm not really sure, but if it has strength on it, let's see. And it does have strength on it. I don't know. I think there's also a compatibility issue, which makes it hard to tell what kind of rigging these things are. Is if it's an older version that this was created in, I don't think it shows up as well. Like a layer binding would look like this. This is how I would know this is layer binding, is because this would be a lot more thicker. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind whenever you're looking at these different rigs, trying to figure it out, is there might just be a compatibility issue where it doesn't really show up extremely well. But you just got it on this really simple, let's see here. Actually, I don't know what's going on with these points. What is happening at these points? Let's see what happens when I delete them. I can't really tell what those points were doing. Interesting. So he's got some points that are being cycled through on this layer, the camioneta layer. But I can't figure out what exactly is going on. I'm looking for like moving points or something, but I'm not really seeing much. I'm seeing some flicker on points and stuff. That's a little weird, but like right here. So maybe he's trying to get like, I don't know, some sort of 2.5D effect. Maybe a slight depth of field on the different parts. Not depth of field, but kind of like a parallax. But yeah, I can't really tell. But if I go to the main layer, this is the bone layer, you can see all the different things that this animation has. Whenever I looked at Victor's work, he's got a lot going on with cycles, and sometimes it's hard to break down. So it's easier just to, I guess, just have certain bones showing and other ones hidden. So what you can do, a keyboard shortcut, is you can select the two bones that you want, or whatever amount of bones you want showing, and then you can just go to select inverse, and then you can either do shy bone or just come up here to bone and then hide selected bones. So that really cleans up the workflow to be able to see this. So right now, all these guys, they have bones and stuff too, but this is the root bone. This shouldn't really have anything on it, I don't think, other than it going up and down. And then you have this bone right here, which looks like it just has a rotation of it. Oh, it also goes up and down as well. So yeah, so what I try to do is I first try to understand how the rig and everything was created in order to go back and animate it. So if I was to try to re-rig this, which I probably won't, that's probably going to take way too long. I'll probably do her walk cycle. But if I was to go in and try to figure that out, it could take probably hours till I get the final result that I'd be pleased with. But yeah, so as far as the this bone right here, you can see it has a translation. So if I go ahead and I mute that, you should see that it just rocks back and forth now, which still looks pretty good. But adding that additional translation in there definitely improves the animation. And then if you go to the rotation, you can see that it's just a truck just bouncing up and down. So he's got these different cycles going on here. And as you can see, he's got one cycle that starts a little bit later than the other, so he kind of overlaps it, which gives it a cool effect. So yeah, with this, I'm not gonna do too much with this, but just bringing back all the bones back in, let's do show all bones. You can see that all these characters, these guys, are all one single layer, which is really cool. I never really thought of, or I never really think of doing that approach of just having everything on one layer. That would be a lot easier to do than having all these as their own separate rig with multiple layers. So that's something cool that I learned from that. You can see this particular arm and everything, it has layer order, so I should be able to come in here and change the order of that layer. Whoops. If ever that happens, a keyboard shortcut to reset your scene is home, and then there's another one to reset it on the particular layer, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, so he's got some layer order there just with the shapes themselves. And going back to the rigging, it's all point rigging, point binding. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. And then I like the overlapping action on this guy, labeled, what is that? Lingua. Oh, that's tongue. So that's the tongue guy. But he's got some cool overlapping action. It's kind of got like a humping motion thing going on there, which I think is what he was going for. Again, this is I don't really understand what's going on with this animation. But yeah, some really good overlapping action on all of it, like the head to how he's moving in the truck, so it actually looks like he is doing some sort of humping motion. He's got a target bone so that target doesn't move, his arm doesn't move, and his body basically stays attached to everything else. And then with all these characters, I would imagine that they're all bound back to the back to the truck itself. So that's all really cool. So that takes a lot. There's a lot going on there to be able to create a motion and then have everything bound to that motion but offset it. That's actually quite advanced. And for me to sit and try to teach it, I would first have to do it a lot myself to figure out the motion before I'd be able to teach it. So I'm not even going to attempt to try to do this because that would be pretty difficult. So let's go ahead and let's focus on, I'm gonna go ahead and delete that truck out. Let's go ahead and let's focus on this character right here, because there's some pretty cool things that are going on with this character that I'd be able to teach and go over, along with doing a simple walk cycle. I would probably, me personally, I would change up the walk cycle. This is currently how the walk cycle is set up. And it's not bad. It's not a bad walk cycle at all. She does look very ticked off or aggravated. But I did notice here, just in the feet, there's a little bit that I would do differently. I probably wouldn't have her legs lock backwards. There's a leg right here. Looks like it's locking backwards, kind of doing a hyperextension type thing there. But she's got some cool overlap on her backpack. And this little tail strap thing down here, I'd probably do that a little bit different as well. But it has some pretty cool stuff going on there. So yeah, so one of the things that I like to do, if I can, is keep the timing. I do like the timing of the animation. So what I'll do is I'll just keep the timing. So this is a 25 frames, so it's about 13 frames per step, which is typical. That's actually what I usually do for a lot of my walk cycles. So this is perfect. So I'll just go in and I'll first pose out those first poses there. Let's see what else she has going on here. So she's got Okay, so she's got some overlap on the arms as well. And as I'm looking at this, this actually looks like it's on twos. Let's turn off that Kaye, the street. Oh, cool. She's got a little shadow underneath as well. That's the extra layer there. So yeah, we're going to go back through and we're going to animate this character doing this walk cycle. I'm just trying to figure out, it looks like her arms are on ones and the rest of the character is on twos. Which means that as she's walking forward, it's every other frame that she's moving. You can see down here my current time indicator, it's moving. So every other frame, she's taking a step. But her arms, I can see it. Her arms are moving, rotating in between each frame. So those arms are actually on ones, it looks like. So another way you can check to see if those are on ones, and it looks like she just has an up and a down and an up and a down. So that probably was just to make things easier, but if I right click on this and I go to interval, oh, that's on twos. Rotation. Oh, it's all on twos. Interesting. I wonder why that's not working. Let me do something really quick here. Select all, well, actually, so this is another thing that's really interesting that I get a lot from looking at different rigs and stuff inside the Moho library, is different ways to go about rigging. So this looks like it's actually a target bone. So her body is targeted, is pointing back to this target, which is her backpack. So if I go and I click on this backpack area, let's hit, okay, so I don't know what the binding is on this exactly. This looks like a very, very simple flexi binding that's just bound to the rest of the artwork. So this whole layer, oh, whoa, what? So right now I'm just trying to break down this rig and see how this thing is made. Sombra, okay, that's shadow. What on earth? Head. Huh, I can't figure out what the what's going on here. Whoa, what the heck? Do I have two? Okay, let's delete that. We'll keep the fondo, the background. I think this might have, maybe when it was getting sent over to Smith Micro to be put on the library, it got duplicated, because that's what it looks like. It looks like this whole thing right here is duplicated. Huh, I can't really, yeah, there's something there. What the heck? Okay, so there's something on the layer 4 and layer 1. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't really okay, that makes, so, and I have to understand what's going on first before I can even rig this. I have to understand what the rig is supposed to be doing. So layer 13, layer 4, layer 1. Let's take a look at the comments really quick. I'm currently having problems with Moho 13 bitmap frame by frame. Some frames disappear by themselves. Yeah, I think there's some issue with frame by frame on Moho 13. I'm using Moho 12 currently. Can you show how to customize particle or cloud effect? I don't do anything with particle effects. A lot of the stuff that I'm learning right now is actually how to do it frame by frame myself. So I actually don't use many particle effects or anything like that. What I'm really trying to learn first is character animation, because there's a lot. Effects and character animation are two completely different things. So I'm more into, definitely more into character animation. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Oh man. I'm gonna delete layer 4 and I'm just gonna see what's, okay, so that's still working. Okay. All right, so I think that was just an extra layer that was put in there by accident. So if I go to this layer now, let's take a look at this target bone. Let's see how this is. Whoops, go back to the main bone layer. Okay, so there's this rotation. Okay, and you can see there how the target bone, it's just the arm that's pointing back towards it. But that's just that's kind of a cool idea. That's just to get the artwork to bob up and down as she's moving. And I think it works nicely. Let me go ahead and reset that. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's recreate. Oh, here's another cool thing. What's this? That looks like a layer, what do they call those? Stroke exposure. So it looks like an animated, yep, what is that? Curve exposure. Curve exposure. Yeah, it's called stroke exposure, and down here it's called curve exposure. That's not right. But that's kind of a cool effect. So it looks like he literally just took and scribbled with maybe like the freehand tool, and then is using the curve exposure to create that little effect there. I haven't really quite figured out how to use the curve exposure. There's two ways of going about it. You can drag side to side, or you can expose the opposite end. So it looks like he's literally just dragging on this, and then if you hold Alt, it drags the other side. But it looks like he's got it timed out pretty well, so that, well, it's on a loop right here, but oh, okay, I see what he's doing. So he first has the stroke show up and expose itself, and everything is still on screen. So you have the beginning part right here, and then what he does is he creates this keyframe so that that second part of the stroke, which is when you hold Alt, it starts to hide that stroke there, and then it looks like, interesting. So I don't know what this keyframe's for. Let's see what that does. Yeah. So it looks like he just holds that keyframe out all the way to there, and then it goes back through its cycle once again. But that looks like a very simple animation now that I understand how that works. But that's cool. It's got a cool little effect there. Okay, so now that I got this rig basically figured out, so this is the part where I have most of the rig figured out. The next thing that I do is I go into, well, I just take and I just duplicate this out. And I'll go ahead and hide that. And I will go ahead and delete all of this. So I'm going to go to animation, clear animation from layer, not from the document, because I want to keep the other one. So do you want to remove the sublayers too? Yes. So everything should have its, oh wait, is that the, oh, interesting. Okay, so that's a different approach. So it looks like as he was building this character rig, he actually built it out into this pose. So usually we would have it like straight up, or I could see why he did that for the legs there. But that's a unique approach. So I'm guessing for something like this, this is where you'd want to have a storyboard or your poses already drawn out on maybe like a piece of paper. Because it looks like when he came in and he created this character that was designed by, I can't remember the person's name, but it looks like everything on this frame 0, as he was drawing everything out, was drawn into this pose right here, which is something you could totally do. It's not something I've ever done. Let's take a look at these legs really quick here. Yeah, wow. So this whole body, everything is all on one layer. So that just goes to show, because I still have yet to really do this myself, but that just kind of just goes to show that you can do all your layers if it's a simple character on, or you can do all your body parts on one layer, and then just use your layer ordering or shape ordering to move things about. So that's very unique. That's a really cool approach. And then again, going back to these legs, Let's go back to the group layer there. Yeah. And then he looks like he just has these bones just to move the dress up a little bit there. So that's pretty cool. All right, so again, let's go back to the one that we're going to animate. And let's go ahead and, so the first thing that I'm going to do, and I'll talk about this a lot in my course, and going over how to do it and why to do it and all of that, but it's pose to pose. So the method that I'm going to first do is pose to pose. So I'm just going to drag this character over to here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the origin point at the bottom there. Scale that up. Okay. So now I should have my character right there in the middle of the screen. And so there's the first step. So I'm going to change up the steps and things like that a little bit. Let's see what's going on here. That's usually from the target bone, but it looks like there is some actions on this. So let's see. B9, B13. Okay, so he's actually got some actions. And this is another thing to look at to see what's going on. Okay, so he's got an action for the bend. So what this means, if you ever run into this issue, it means that the keyframes weren't reset on frame 1. So it starts from 0 and then it starts to tween. And another thing that you want to get in the habit of is whenever you are creating smart bone actions, let's see where it ends. Okay, so 120, you want to use linear keyframes. And I learned this, I think, in the Lost Marble forums a long time ago. But the reason why you use linear keyframes is because smooth keyframes have a keyframe interpolation of an easing out effect, which means it goes slowly, and you don't want that for your actions. So you want this to be a constant speed all the way through, so that when you are manipulating these actions, you don't have some things moving faster than others, essentially. So I'm going to select all of these keyframes, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to set those to linear. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this actual rotation right here. Let's see. And I'm just going to copy and paste it from frame 1. Whoops, I didn't want to do everything. I meant to do this one. Okay, so that got rid of that popping motion that was going on there. So let's go to B9. Let's do the same thing. So I want to make sure, well, this right here, this is linear up until this point. If there's any keyframes after that, then this would be smooth. So that's correct. I think the only thing that's different is that I just need to copy and paste that first, oops, I did it again. I need to copy and paste that bone to there so it doesn't pop. So you can see from frame 0 and 1, it's not popping. That other one is for some reason. That's weird. So let's see if I have some keyframes by accident on this. Nope, I don't. Let's go back to 13, B13. Oh, that's really weird. Okay. So I have two different actions. I can't pull up any keyframes, but they're both giving me different results. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with that then, because again, that might be a compatibility issue with smart actions. Yeah, that's a little weird. I don't know why that's doing that. Let's see. El mejor. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Let's go ahead and get rid of el fondo, the background. Okay, so there's the little character there. I'm not gonna have that open right now. Let's go ahead and start posing out our character. So the first thing that we're gonna do, come here to frame 1, and let's get rid of this little thing over top of her head here. There we go. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna freeze my pose. So first I wanna get my pose right. So what do I want her to be doing essentially? So I'm using my transform bone tool, and I'm just gonna come in here and I'm just gonna start posing this character. Okay, so she's walking. So the thing that's a little tricky for overlapping action for me is when you go up and down, you want to offset the parts that are loose by 2 or 3 frames. And right here, I don't really know what she's doing. It looks like she would be going down from a position, so maybe her arms are up a little bit. I'll leave it as is for now because I can't really think of what's going on right now. That's a little tricky for me. Overlapping action is still a little bit tricky. That's a tricky thing there. Her legs, I could probably move forward just a little bit more. So with that, I'll move her dress up and I'll move that leg back a little bit more. Actually, I probably don't want to move it that far. Let's see. So what I'm doing is I'm just setting up the pose of this character. Okay, does that look right? And it's a little tricky when you are using someone else's rig to kind of figure out what looks right. I'm trying to figure out which one's her front leg. I think it's this one because it's further down on this invisible line there. What's this bone? I don't know what that is. Okay. So once I have that, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change my keyframe interpolation to step, and I'm going to set my default intervals to 2. So this animation was done on 2s, which means that I want to animate everything on odd keyframes. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set this to step. And let's go to frame, let's go ahead and just copy that frame for now. So I'm going to freeze my pose for those two spots, and then I'm going to do the opposite for these legs. A keyboard shortcut. So here's another thing that I found out with the transform bone tool is, let's say I'm trying to grab this bone and it keeps on trying to grab this other bone. A keyboard shortcut is simply to use Alt, hold down Alt and left click and drag, and you can basically drag it from anywhere. You don't have to be selecting that certain part of the bone if they're really close like that. So I'm just going to hold Alt, drag that to over there, hold Alt, drag that over to there-ish. I don't really know yet. I got to see what these poses are doing. And then I'm going to drag this leg back, drag this leg forward, and I'm clicking and selecting the target bone. Okay, so she's got a weird bend on that leg. I don't like that. Shoot. So let's try to avoid that. So we'll bend it like that. Bring this foot back down. Wow, this leg is really long. Okay. And to swap that leg the other way, so right now it's hyperextending, just with your transform bone tool, select the ankle, and then just left click and drag right. That's going to reset that. Okay, so this is really weird. Let me see what's going on here. So that's her. So this is the front leg. This is the leg closest to camera. And then it gets. Okay. That's so weird. Right here, it looks like this is closest to camera. All right, so I'm just going to extend that leg out then. So I could really show that that's closer to the camera than the other leg. These legs have really weird artwork. I wonder why it's popping out that way. That's kind of weird. Let me see if I can go into the smart bones, and no, I can't change it because they're not ever at that position. Let's go to B9. Oh, that's weird. Okay. I'm going to select all of these points, and I'm just going to delete them just to see what happens. So nothing. Huh. What about here? Nothing. Interesting. All right, let's go back to B13. Delete. Delete. Those points weren't doing anything. What the heck? Something's a little screwy. Okay, so we might need to fix the scaling. Okay, that's fine. That's a little tricky. This is actually a little bit more trickier than most rigs that I would start out with. Even though the animation's not complicated, the rig sure as heck is in its own way. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's make sure we got the pose the same. Oops. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna label this really quick, so in case I lose it. So these are just a file that I have with animation exercises, and I'm gonna call this one Nina. I don't have the Enye on my keyboard, or else I'd be able to put that better. So it's named Nina. Let's see, so I'm gonna turn on my onion skins, and I'm going to put my onion skin, I'm gonna put my frame on frame 13, turn it to 1. So I can kinda, let's get rid of this shadow, la sombra. And let's see here. So this is the back leg, so I don't want it touching all the way down. So let's set it to right about there. And then I might just have to come in here, because maybe is it that these aren't straight? What is going on? Something's going wonky here with those legs. So I might just need to keyframe those once I get to that point. I won't do it now, but I might just need to manually move those points so that it doesn't create a weird angle on that leg right there. And then this leg is not matching this height at all. So what I need to do is I need to go back. Let's go ahead and switch that there. Okay, so I want to line these two, because this is the same foot. I want to line those two on the ground the same way. And again, we got some weird scaling issues going on, but yeah. Oh, I'm noticing the bone right here as well is not, oh, that's weird. All right, let me go back to frame 1. So the other thing I'm noticing now on frame 1 here is my bones have this weird overlap. So usually your bones are connected like that, but for some reason he has them overlapping. So that's a little tricky too, especially if you're using a rig you're unfamiliar with. So that explains the scaling issue that I'm having. Okay, but that should be fine. So now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create what's called the well, you probably already heard of it a million times by now, but we're gonna create the passing position. So when the one leg passes the other. So let's imagine there's an imaginary line here. I'm just gonna hold down Shift and I'm gonna drag this down to right about there. I'm gonna move this leg back to about halfway, point this leg down towards the ground so it looks like it's on the ground, and we'll fix that. And then we're gonna grab this leg and we're gonna bring it to its passing position to where it's passing over that other leg there. Whoa. Okay. Now there are no bones in this foot, so it makes it a little difficult to create a different kind of effect there. Let's take a look at this pose. So she wants to be, she's supposed to be angry right now. And that probably worked better the way that he had it, because I'm doing wide footsteps, where I think his was shorter and not as wide, changing the body language a little bit there. I think I might have messed up my smart bone by accident. Dang it. When that bend was supposed to be for this leg. Whoops, this one. I'm gonna fix that again really quick here. So he's got it bending all the way to frame 120. I accidentally removed those keyframes. Let's go ahead and fix that really quick here. Oops. These stinking things, man. All right, so she's got, I don't know if she's supposed to have muscular calves, but she's got muscular calves when she bends her leg. Where does it end? Let's see, let's go back to the bone. Zoom out. So right now I'm fixing the smart bone action that I accidentally erased. Okay, so there's that bend. So let's figure out what's going on prior. Ah, gotcha. Okay. Well, I actually don't know what the purpose of having it all the way up here is because her leg doesn't go that far. So I'm just going to leave that as that. Ah, and I do have it on step. So I want to make sure when I am changing these actions, if you ever get to that point, make sure you're using linear keyframes and make sure they are on frame 1. That's a lot to fix. Okay. And then again right here, I basically just want to reset these bones, or these points. So I'm just gonna hit reset. Just make sure I get my keyframe in there. Linear. And this is interval 1. All right, so we got that. I would imagine the knee is supposed to move a little bit there. Okay, let's go back to B9 really quick and let's fix that. So I'm just gonna change this to linear and to 1 really quick so I don't have to keep changing that. So let's go right about here, let's fix that. Let's turn our onion skins off. Okay. Again, the leg's not going to be moving much further back. So it looks like he's got it to 120. We'll just fix that. Not perfect. I didn't mean to delete those. For some reason, it didn't show up as I was deleting those points. So that looks a little bit better on her leg there. She's got a little bit more of a lower calf. Not anatomically correct, but okay, so we just want to focus on the animation though. So here we have the leg now passing, so we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to zoom back in on my timeline here. And it's going to be right about here where this leg will be passing the other leg. So this leg will be down. It'll be over. This hip will be halfway. This hip will be about halfway. And then this leg will be passing over the other leg. I want to keep that a little bit off the ground there. Okay, so actually I see where I went wrong there. Let's go ahead and set this to step and back to interval 2. So I see where I went wrong with the other leg. It actually does bend that far back. Not that one, the other one. So B9. So on that passing position, it does move pretty far back. So we'll have to fix that pose. Wow, what is going on here? So there is a target bone on it, which is a little difficult with these. Shoot, man. So I think it's this point. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's go back to the bone. So I shouldn't have deleted those actions. That was my bad. Ah, that ankle. So let's select this point so I can fix that when we go back to this bone here. Oh my gosh, what is going on? That's very messy. I can't remember if there was a solution for that when the legs bend back. That target bone's no longer working. Let's do a temporary fix. Let's just have it pointing out and then we'll delete that rotation. So it should be something like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that bone I just moved and I'm going to delete it. Okay, that should fix that now. Should. Doesn't look like it did. Okay, we'll leave that as is for now. Let's see, we got a few questions here. Andy Hayes says, do you draw your characters in vector before you drop them onto a bone structure? Yes. That is correct. Yep. So, yeah, as far as a bone structure, no, you don't want to create your bone structure before creating your character. You want to create your character first and then rig and lay down bones onto the character that you created. So first drawing and then adding your bones to the drawing. Fog Color says maybe an angle control, the pooping effect. Or popping, maybe it was popping. Yeah, there could be, I think I deleted an action that I wasn't supposed to, and it wasn't showing up for some reason when I deleted it. Michael Clay says, hey McCoy, great work as always. Thanks, Michael. This is actually, I just want to make sure I give the credit to the right person. This is Victor Paredes' character rig that he put together. I'm just doing the animation on it. McCoy, the target bone is causing the popping. Yeah, those target bones are pretty dang messy stuff there. So we just got to be careful with that. But with this animation, what I want to show you is, because we're going to take a traditional approach, meaning we're not going to be doing in-betweens. We're going to be creating all of our poses. So that's literally like frame by frame. It shouldn't be an issue when it comes to the in-betweens. Okay, so this leg goes to there. And then this leg goes to there. Okay, and then back. So we got this. Okay, and it looks like we have a scaling thing going on there. I don't know what's going on there. Let's make sure we have these all on step. Change this back to step and interval of 2. Oh my gosh, there we go. Step, interval of 2. Oh, weird. Okay, what is happening? So is this? There's a bone scaling. So I'm gonna just delete all the bone scaling. Okay, that did nothing. What the heck? Let's go ahead and let's copy and paste our poses. Make sure we got the same pose going. Oh, there we go. We didn't have the same pose. And I think I know why. Let's copy and paste these poses. Okay. All right, that should work for now. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're going to, let's see. So in between these two poses, oops. Where's my other thing? There we go. So now we gotta put down the foot and put it in between these two poses. So we're now basically creating the in-betweens. Why is this not deselecting for this character? So I'm gonna select the target bone. I'm gonna drag that down and I'm gonna put her foot on the ground. And then right about here, her leg, whoops, her leg is gonna be moving back. As far as creating the ups and downs, let's go ahead and do that as well. So this is gonna be the furthest position down. So let's put some weight on that leg. And then as we come to, let's see, I think this position here. So this is this leg right here. Right here, this is this leg. So I'm gonna put it in between and it's gonna be closer to frame 13. So I'm gonna have it favor that pose, which means I'm just gonna have it closest to that pose. And then this is gonna be the part where she's gonna be highest in this walk cycle. Oops. Oh my gosh, come on. Just trying to select that there. All right. So I'm looking at just this leg for now. So it's down. And I don't know if that changes the pose. So this should be like the midpoint, the lowest point, back to the midpoint, to the high point, back to that midpoint. So if I take a look at this bone, this is going to be telling me what's going on with this motion. And right now it's not telling me anything. So let's see. Let's select our Y dimension. There we go. Okay, there we go. So we got the midpoint, the low point, back to that midpoint, and to the highest point. So it's not really back to the midpoint. It's going to be like in between the highest and the lowest. So something like that. And then it's going to go back to this position and then cycle through. So now what I can do is I can just take these keyframes and I can copy and paste them. Let's see, on 17. Wait, no. Was it 17 or? Whoops. 15. So let me delete those. Let's copy and paste. There we go, 15. I think. Dang it, what am I doing? So, so we got, where's the low point? Nope. Oh, I haven't even posed their feet yet, so that's why that's difficult for me to figure out. Okay, so let me actually go back. Should be 13, I thought. Okay, let me go back and let me pose the feet first, because I'm kind of losing track of what I was doing. Okay, so 17, we're going to, let's go ahead and add our onion skin. Move that foot down, bring it to about there, and we'll have to fix her legs too, as far as like where they're positioned. And that's where, if anybody has been following me on Facebook and in the Facebook groups, that's where I talk a lot about using your motion graph. Because this, just looking at all this, it can get really messy trying to figure out where things are at. Okay, so right here, this is where I want to take this pose as far as the down position. And whoops. I want to take the, right here. There we go. So she's stepping on that leg, putting some weight onto that foot. Looks like there's actually a lot of weight, so we might need to fix that. Let's go back to our motion graph. Interesting, so this pose is being held. Oh, this should be the highest pose. I don't know what I did that. Okay, there we go. Then it goes down. And then this is going to be the midway pose. Back into the highest pose. Okay, so I think we got the up down right. I don't know why the heck that was so confusing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and, so now her leg is coming down, so this is where there's gonna be the most weight. Legs passing. Okay, and now we're going to, what is this supposed to be? Now I gotta take some of these keyframes off here. So now we want this leg. So it's getting to the part where she would be making contact with the ground again. I've just been doing run cycles for like 5 days straight, so now my walk cycles are all jacked up. I forgot how the posing's supposed to go. How far out does that? Oh, that bone should be going back a little bit more. Wrong frame. Okay, that looks weird. So that's where the weight should be going down, and then this leg should be getting ready to pass the other leg. So let's go ahead and let's see. Why is my passing position up there? I think I did the passing position wrong. It's supposed to be like down here somewhere. Okay, so this is contact. Weight's coming down. Let's go ahead and just bring that up a bit. Okay, and then this is where this leg is going to be about here-ish. Getting ready to go into that new pose. Let's go ahead and just flip that through. See what that looks like. Yeah, so that needs to be, hold down Alt. Oops, let's do Shift and Alt so I can move that in a line. There we go. So right about there. Keep on putting the frames in the wrong frame. Keys on the wrong frame. Whoops, that's a lot of distance to travel. Let's see, I'm missing a pose. So there, and then there. Oh, that leg is very long. It makes it weird. All right, we'll work with it. I gotta play back the animation to see what's going on once we get to that point. Okay, so we got mostly our legs mostly set up there. Again, her stance is very wide, and it's because of the scaling on that leg. And this rig is a little bit tricky because, again, this is frame 0, and the bones don't even touch. And I've never worked with a rig like this that does that. So that's a little tricky. So what I think I might need to do is adjust this. Oh, wow. How's that going to work? It stretches that other scale out. Oh, shoot. I was going to say I can adjust the scaling on the leg. Maybe just bring that leg up. That might work. So let's keep doing that. Just make sure that we keep our everything right. Oh man, that other leg though. Dang it, the heck. All right. Again, we'll bring that up. Oops, it's right about there. And that's right about there. It's not what I want. Why is the scale so different? Dang it. What is going on with this leg? All right, so I need to, frick. I need to create like a default scale for this leg that stays and makes sense. It keeps on. Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh, maximum IK stretching 3. No wonder. All right, I'll be right back. I gotta go blow. Okay, so 3 is pretty exaggerated. I'm just gonna set that to 1 for right now for both her legs, because that's really messing with the stretching, I want to say. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's working a lot better. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so it was, I forgot about that IK stretching. That actually helped quite a bit to reduce that. I'm just flipping through it really quick here, just to figure out my my poses. So let's go ahead and let's move on this passing position. I'm gonna move this leg over just a little bit more, so it's closer to this pose here. Okay, and then I'm noticing that the other leg needs some work, especially right here. Let's pick up this leg here. Okay. Okay, so it's not even moving right here, so let's get it to move where it should be. So right here, oh, whoops. I was looking at the wrong keyframe. Should be like this. Okay. And then for this pose here, let's get this foot down on the ground as soon as possible after it makes contact. Or at least get it to here. Oh wait, 3. Ah, I have this on 4. What the heck? I thought I had this on 3. 13, 16. Man, what am I doing? 13, 16, so this should be 17. So 1, 3, 7, 11, 13, 17. What the heck? 7, 11, 13, 19, 23. What is this? So 13, 15, 19. Okay, there we go. I had my timing wrong. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna look at it without bones. Okay, so she's very squashed in this weird squash position, and I think it's because we adjust the scaling on her legs. So if I move that up, okay, so that's that. So let me go back to my motion graph and let's fix the adjustment of how far down she's going on this position. Okay, and right about here, she'll be moving up. And I definitely need to exaggerate this a little bit more, so I'm going to adjust my, to adjust your, oops, let's do this. So I'm going to do separate dimensions. I'm going to select just Y. If you zoom in, if you just hit N, it's going to reset your view there in your motion graph, making that a little bit easier. I think I see what I did wrong. I might need to change my spacing. We'll see. Let me play it out again. I kind of like that. I like the way that looks. So let's go ahead and let's move that down a little bit. Back to the motion graph. And let's adjust that a little bit better. And we'll move this a lot higher up. Man, I keep on selecting another one. Go to end. copy and paste the y-axis once I can select it. Wait, is that right? That is right, okay. Interesting. Wrong keyframe. Oh my gosh. All right, so frame 13, I'm trying to just paste this. There we go, flip. And then this will move to right about there. This will move to up here. Okay, let's see what that looks like. And then this we gotta repeat correctly. Oops, delete. So the up is pretty far up, which means I need to probably adjust my down position. Yeah, because that looks a little weird. Let's go back to the feet. Let's focus on the feet one more time here. And let's, I kind of like that though. And I like the spacing here. That's a little tricky. What the timing should be, or as far as this pose, it should probably be like this. And then this would be a little bit further back. I'm not sure. Hold on. I think I need to add more keyframes in there. So let's add another pose. Let's go from this pose. Let's go ahead and add an onion skin from here to here. And let's move this foot in right about there. And we'll move the body down slightly more. See if that works. Then it goes up, and then way up. Okay. That might have worked. So there's pretty far spacing between those two poses. So I'm probably going to move this leg back a little bit further. And I just want to make sure that as far as her center of balance, it makes sense. Like if she's passing and her leg is over here, that's pretty much impossible because the center of balance is off. So that should work. Okay. And again, this pose we'll have right about there. That pose, we'll push that back a little bit further, closer to the other one. Okay, so it's a little bit more smooth. I'm looking at this front leg, not the back one. Back one needs some work. Okay, and then what I would like to do is give her foot a little bit more of a bend. So kind of point back towards that initial pose, point back towards that pose, and then as it comes forward, it'll start, we'll see if this works, because I don't know if that's a pose that's gonna make sense. But we'll have her foot go about there. And again, I'm trying to focus on, well, I would probably need a reference, a really grumpy walk to get this properly, which I should have probably done first is got a reference. But I think we got the idea for the most part. A lot going on here, so I'm going to drag this leg forward a little bit. Oops, can't grab this bone. There we go. That pose right there probably doesn't make sense. I kind of like it. Let's see. I'm gonna hide, oh, I can't hide the other leg. They're on the same layer. It looks very, I'm making her foot look very floppy. So let's go ahead and let's adjust that a little bit. So yeah, just to adjust that, I'm just moving those 2 keyframes down. Whoops, something else is in there. Let's move that down. Okay. X-Men Cartoon says you should make her fight a giant sandworm. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Let's go to. So her leg is picking up pretty high at that point. I probably don't want it so high. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. All right, so that's the front leg. So the front leg I think is pretty much set. The only thing I just need to fix is the thigh. So I'm gonna take a look at my motion graph for the, whoops. Let's not look at the rotation, that's gonna be a mess. Let's look at the x-axis. Whoops, not consolidate, dang it. Where did that just go? If you accidentally consolidate your layers, it means it's going to put them all on one channel, which isn't helpful if you're trying to work on the animation. So I need to go back to unconsolidate, separate dimensions, and let's go to our X. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of work. So what I'll do to probably make this easier for myself is, let's see. Actually, this isn't even making sense to me right now. I don't know why this is dropping so far down. What is this? Oh, whoa, what is X supposed to be? What the heck? Oh, X is like Y in this case. All right, well, let's take a look at Y then. There we go, that looks better. What the heck? That's confusing. Okay. So it should look like something like this. I'm just gonna fix this really quick. Oh, come on. What is going on? Ford. I got a little puppy. Oh, I got my webcam on. I can show you guys my puppy. Well, he's like a year. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, Ford. This guy. My wife is out of town. So this guy has just been causing all sorts of trouble. I've been trying to record courses this week, and he just barks. He's a Chihuahua, as you can probably tell. But he is very, very loud and makes it difficult to get any freaking work done. Huh, buddy? Yeah. So that's been my week so far, trying to get work done and not getting a dang thing done. So that's why I figured I would just do some animation streaming, because I can't do anything anyways. So yeah. Want to say anything to the microphone? All right, cool. Go play. Go run. Go play. Okay, so I think that works. I think the leg is moving back further a little bit quicker than I'd want it to, so I'm going to add a little bit of a slow out here. Oh my gosh, this is so hard. And then we'll do the, then we'll do the same thing. We'll add a slow in. Okay, so with what I'm doing right now, the reason why this is difficult is because I'm doing this technically frame by frame, which if I was working on an animation rig that I was familiar with, this would not be so difficult. But this is the torture I like to put myself through, especially on a live stream. Trying to make something that'd be helpful for you, and it's me trying to figure out stuff. Okay. So that's what that would look like. Mostly, more than likely. That's a very weird leg, man. I don't like that leg. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna rejoin those dimensions. Okay, so that leg's done. I can't hide it, so it's still gonna be there. And now I'm gonna work on this back leg here. So as you can see, this leg isn't really moving anywhere. So let's go back to our middle position here. So in between frames 1 and 13, I'm gonna turn my relative frames off so I can find where that is. Should be 7. So 7 should be my midway point between here and here. For this middle leg. So let's go ahead and let's move that towards somewhere right about there. Okay. Now I'm going to turn my relative keyframes back on my onion skin so I can see what the heck is going on, because I'm starting to get lost now. So this should be going into, let's go to the previous pose rather than the next pose. So that's that pose, and we're trying to get into, oh man, might have to work backwards then. So this goes to there. Oops. So there. Then it goes back to here-ish. Okay. And this is why you do your pose to pose first, because I'm gonna redo this really quick, because I'm starting to do a straight ahead, and it's getting a wee bit confusing there. Okay, so there's there. My gosh, there's so many stinking keyframes. Which leg am I looking at? This leg, okay. So now from here to here, I want to have my pose right about here in the middle somewhere. I don't like the way I set up my spacing on this one. I tried doing something interesting with the timing, but I'm kind of making this a little bit confusing for myself. Okay, so let's do this then. We'll put that there. Then on this keyframe, we'll put that there. Pick it up a little bit. Okay. Then we get to this midway point right about in here. Set that to 13. Well, I want to get between these 2 points. I don't want it to be so far up. So something like that. Actually, I probably need it a little bit closer to that other pose. And then here, oops, I'll move it to right about, let's see, there-ish. Okay, that looks pretty good. Hey, Pixel Mega. Nice animation you're making, thank you. Never thought you can make a walk cycle with step keyframes. Very interesting. Yeah, for sure. So again, this is a terrible example to try to start on with a rig that I'm not familiar with. But in my course, I'm going to be teaching all about that, how to use step keyframes to really get down the principles of animation so that you don't have to work with in-betweens and the software trying to tween for you. Because believe it or not, actually having the software do the tweening for you, especially if you're a beginner, makes it very, very difficult to learn because the software is doing it for you. So you're not learning how to do your own spacing. You're not learning how to do your own timing. So that's one of the things I really want to go over. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun once you get it down. And then once you know how tweening should be working, like once you know how the motion graph should be connecting poses together, then you can go and you can add your Bezier curves and you can start to change things from step if you desire. But if you're looking for like a really cool traditional type of look, like right now I have, that doesn't even need to be on twos. But if you're looking for a really cool traditional look, step keyframes is definitely the way to go. So as you can see here, that leg in the back is still not that great, but everything else is working out pretty good there. I created a 3D stick man in this program. Very cool. Axman says, I've tried my hand at live animating. It's hard. I attract a lot of trolls. Keep up the good work, brother. You're doing God's work. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's hard. Animating live is hard. Axman, I think I recognize... I wish I could click on the little chat thing. It doesn't let me click on someone's thing so I can open up the YouTube channel. But I think I recognize you from the Lost Marble forums, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's definitely difficult to animate live. That's for sure. And sorry about the trolls, dude. I get those too from time to time. I've been off YouTube for so long that they kind of left me alone, and they'll eventually find me once again, but cross my fingers. Okay, so let's go back to, this is so hard, I don't even know what's going on. So 13, so in between 13, so I'm gonna try to find my middle pose. I'm gonna turn my relative keyframes off for a second here. And I think 25. So my middle pose is going to be between frame 13 and frame 25. And I forgot what foot I'm working on. Okay, this foot right here. So this is where this foot should be planted. So it's going from this passing position to here. Yeah, here. So I'm going to put this foot right about here towards the middle. Shoot. What am I doing? So this foot... Oh, wow. What? Why is it so low? Dang it. I'm going to put this foot back a little bit more. So I got to copy these frames because I just changed them. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, my gosh. Fix the spacing first off, because the spacing's awful there. I'm going to point that foot back. So we got this. And let's bring back our relative frames again. Trust me, this stuff is not as hard as I'm making it look right now. Shouldn't be anyway. But these legs, man. These legs are confusing the heck out of me. That, and again, like I said, I've done a run cycle. I've done a lot of runs. I showed it at the beginning here. This is one that I just did. But I've been doing a lot of runs, and it's kind of the same thing to a walk cycle, but there's a couple more a couple more poses you add in, and for some reason, it's like I forgot how to create a freaking walk cycle completely. Thought this would be easy. Well, it still is. We're still gonna be able to get through this, but you can see the painful process. Okay, so I think that looks about right. So I'm looking at this back leg. So our leg's going up, and I like the spacing. The thigh is totally jacked, so we'll have to fix the thigh. But I think that's working. There's a little bit of drag on her foot. She's bringing it up. It goes down pretty quickly. And then she starts to stand up. There's a little bit of an issue going on here. So let's fix that. Oh, whoa. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's go into the thigh then. Let's fix the thigh. So I'm going to open up my motion graph again to see what's going on. Okay, so left to right, for some reason, it's not the x-axis, it's the y-axis on this. I haven't quite figured that out. Or is it? Yeah, it is. So this is where you would technically be able to fix this by doing this. When you're doing step keyframes, I'm just going to show you. So I'm going to delete all these. And I know that, okay, this is my furthest point of this walk cycle. This is their extremes. So this is my extreme. This is my other extreme. And then it's back to where it was before. So to make this easy for myself, what I could do is right here, let's go ahead and let's combine this because this is going to get screwed up once I combine them again, is I'm just going to grab, and I'll mark them right now. I'll mark my contact positions. I'll mark them in green so it's easier for you to see. So I'm going to come in here, have all these marked in green, label green, and I'm going to delete all of my, this is bone translation of that thigh moving backwards and forwards. So for that bone, I'm going to delete all those out. Then what I can do is I can come in here and I can create these into, let's say, let's do an ease out, ease in. I think that makes the most sense. So if I come back into here, those are on 2s, so let me put those on 1s. Then you can see clearly that, okay, that is how that leg is moving. That's how that thigh will be moving backwards and forwards. Now I can change that and I can make adjustments to it. But that's the part where, when it comes to in-betweens, where the software does it for you. Now, does it do it perfectly? No, not exactly. You still have to get in there and make the changes yourself, but let's put this on 2s. And that's a little bit more of what I'm looking for with those legs. It's very tricky. I see why Victor, when he originally animated this, he didn't have those legs move very far out, because I'm treating these tops of the legs like the hips, and that looks wrong. It looks like she's got very, very short legs. Yeah, that doesn't look right at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab those extremes and I'm going to move them up so that those legs aren't going to move so far backwards and forwards, because I really messed that up. And that is probably going to mess up my locking of my knees and stuff, but we'll have to fix that. This is my wife calling. She is out of town, so bear with me. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that. Let's see, live. Okay. Test, test, test. Hopefully everything's good. Nikki, hey, how's it going? Nikki says, I tried animating live a few times, was able to set 4 keyframes in 3.5 hours. Yeah. Nikki, if I remember you correctly, man, I can't click on the profile pictures on here, or the channel pictures to pull up the channels. But I think you create a dog, a wolf. It's like a white wolf or something animation, right? In Blender, you use Blender. If so, let me know. I think I know who you are. Okay, let's see here. So yeah, so I messed up the posing, unfortunately, with the leg. So what I can do is either just leave it or start over. So I'm just gonna leave it. Gosh dang it, man. So yeah, I totally unfamiliar with this rig. So right there, that looks good. That looks like her leg is connected to her hip somewhere in there. Cool. Yeah, Nikki, you do good work, man. Really good work. I wish I could share, or someone, if you're in the chat, click on his little channel icon, see if it pops up for you, because let's see, does it let me do it with this? Nope. What the heck? He does really good animation. And I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's either Maya or Blender. But oh yeah, I can totally tell for you. I can tell why it would take 4 keyframes in 3 hours, 3.5 hours live. 3D animation is a completely different beast, man. Okay, so yeah, so this leg, like right there, what would make the most sense is if I take, man, I'm sorry, I have the worst freaking allergies right now. My nose is bugging the heck out of me. Is probably like that would make the most sense. So I probably don't have to start completely over, but like something like this pose, pretty unrealistic. Again, I want to think of her hip somewhere in here. So her like butt is kind of curving up into this area. So her hip's gonna be right about here. Man, that's really hard. So yeah. So with that being said, I am gonna have to fix her thigh bone again. And then let's take a look at that back one. So that back leg, the back leg doesn't look too bad. Like that right there, let's see. If I'm looking at the rotation of those legs there, that's not even possible. So I don't even know what the heck's happening there. So this has to go back to probably right about here. And then her foot, if that's the passing position, no, that's the passing position. I see what I was doing wrong. Okay. So another thing you can do, because I keep on losing track as well, mark your passing position. So I'm gonna mark it all in orange. Your passing position or breakdown, depending on what type of animation you're doing. They're the same thing. Well, no, passing position isn't the same as breakdown, but a passing position is a breakdown, if that makes sense. So just make sure you have that set properly. Yeah, Nikki, of course, man. You deserve the recognition there. Same with X-Men cartoons. X-Men, if I remember who you are, I remember seeing you. Oh man, I can't remember. I think you do like the horror cartoons and stuff. Very, very unique style, but you can feel the horror of it as far as the terror of the animations. It's also done really well. Okay, so let's go back in and let's fix that hip. So I want to bring that over to right about there. And oh man, that the length on that stinking leg, man. My dog is like knocking on something. I have no idea. The door is right here. I could see out the front window to my front door. And my dog's in there knocking on something like a human. What a weirdo. Okay, yeah, so let's go back in. I can't believe this is taking me. Right now I should be almost done with this freaking walk cycle. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I need to adjust. So you can see right here. So this is really hard to see right now, but if I go back to the Y, for whatever reason that's Y. So you can see where I need to make my adjustments. So if this is the extreme, meaning this is the furthest this leg is going to move back, and this is the extreme that this leg is going to move the furthest forward, then these cannot be past this extreme. As you can see there, that thigh is already past that extreme. So I have to adjust that accordingly. Now again, going back to if this was smooth keyframes, this would be a lot more easier to do. Or even with Bezier, this would be 10 times easier to do than with step. So again, it would look something like this. So what I'm doing though is I'm looking at my keyframes, and I'm also looking at my actual pose there. So I can look right here and I can say, okay, that needs to be, well, that's good. I'm actually looking at the back leg on accident. So that right there, do I need that forward? Do I need that further back? I think it might make sense to have it move it back a little bit more, which means I'm going to be easing into this back, into this back leg position. Oh my gosh, I keep on selecting more than one keyframe. So I should have something like that. And then as this goes down, oh my gosh, this goes down. This goes, whoops, what am I doing? So is this every frame right now? No. What? Hold on just a second, sorry. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Okay. Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What am I looking at? Oh my gosh. Oh, duh, this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is exactly what I was fixing. My goodness. So, for you married folks out there, I don't know, might be different for you, but when your spouse is gone, you can hardly sleep at night. And I almost did like a late stream last night because I couldn't sleep. It's just weird having an empty bed. And yeah, I don't think I got enough sleep. Okay, so I don't like how far that leg's coming forward. And so there's not really much I can do about it because that's more the bend than anything. Weird. Okay. So yeah. So that's looking a little bit better. Her leg right there isn't looking quite as small. We'll fix her dress so her dress moves with her legs now that we're finally getting these legs done. How long it's been? Almost 2 hours on legs alone. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then going back to this leg. What would that leg be doing? Probably, Oh, the spacing on that leg. What the heck? Okay, so the thigh looks okay for now, but the spacing on this foot is really off. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna move it to there for now. I have no idea what the heck happened to this thing. It feels like the more I try to mess with it, the more it breaks. What the world? How did that happen? All right, whatever. So her... That's very weird. This rig is confusing. It shouldn't have been, but it is, unfortunately. All right, so I think the last thing I'll do with the legs is I'm just gonna fix the flap on that back foot there so it doesn't look like it's so goofy. And it's still there a little bit, so let's see why. Let's adjust that a bit. Copy those frames. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So with that being like that, let's fix her pose. Maybe her pose. Oh shoot, that's attached. Oh my gosh. I was gonna bring her hips back, but they're attached to her legs, obviously, but not in the way that I was hoping. So yeah, let's keep that pose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select these bones right here, and I then am going to hit edit. What is it? Select inverse. So I'm gonna select all these bones. For some reason, it didn't highlight the head. And select the head, and then I'm gonna go in and just delete all of these keyframes in the red animation channel. Besides that first one, because that was the pose I wanted to keep. So we'll do that. Okay. And then I can come in and I can freeze my poses respectively for those. Mark those back to green. There we go. Oh no. Didn't want to do that. Okay, I gotta go back. There's one more set of bones that I didn't want to delete. And it was my hip. How do I do this again? Ah, dang it. I'm just gonna hold Alt and Shift, good grief, to select all those bones again. And then all the other bones I don't want. So select inverse, Control I. I gotta remember that keyboard shortcut. Forward, chill. And then I'll delete those. Chill, buddy. Okay, cool. So let's move forward. Let's keep going with this. Let's get off these legs. These legs are just torture for me right now. So now let's take a look at this dress. So let's see what kind of effect we can do with this dress. We can probably do like a little bit of a waving, flopping effect, but I first gotta play this, just watch this really quick to kind of visualize what I want to do. Oh, those legs, man. Those legs are bad. So let's, for quick reference, let's see what this should look like. You know what? See, that still looks goofy to me. Unless he was going for like a marching tin soldier type of look. I think what I have is pretty okay. I think it's the rig that's maybe messing both of our animations up. I think my thighs are definitely, my legs are moving too far forward and back. Mostly forward. But let's take that. I like that. So let's take, well, okay. You know what? That's a very far pose. Why is that so posed so far forward? Can't even talk. Let's see, let me take a look at my rotation on this leg. So I'm gonna actually decrease the rotation of this leg. Oh, I can't because I have to control it from my target bone. Dang it. Well, as far as the target bone itself, it's going up. It's the scale, man. The scale on these legs is off. It's really off. So I'm just gonna leave it. And so I'm gonna use that to my advantage to create some animation. So again, I'm back to step. I'm on frame, or I'm back to step keyframes. So that's gonna move up with that leg. And then what I'll have it do is I'll have it slowly float back down until that new leg hits. So let's go ahead and let's just, I'm gonna lose the color in my legs, or my keyframes. I wish I didn't do that. So there. And then right about here, I want it to start to go back down. Down. Oops, wrong frame. So this would be more of a frame by frame approach, a straight ahead method actually, rather than pose to pose. So this is going to go down up until, up until this next leg. Oh, that next leg didn't really do much. Whoa, 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 what happened to my pose? What the heck? Oh, I deleted my keyframes. No, I added more keyframes. Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh. So I need to freeze each one of these and just change. I have a slow in, slow out effect. That's really not working, so I need to change it. Dang it. How do I do this? Let's see. I'm gonna keep. Oh my gosh. How do I do this? Do I put it on smooth? No. Is that gonna work? Let's see. 3, 5, 7. I'm just gonna see if this works. I don't think this is gonna work though. At least I don't think it's gonna keep my interpolation. My spacing rather. Yeah, it doesn't look like it is. Shoot. Okay, so let's go ahead and separate that out. Let's go back to our dimensions here. Set this to step. Good enough. Whatever. Set these all to step. I don't know why it keeps on changing it back. Okay, so let's focus back again on this part of the dress here. Okay, so that falling motion, I want that to be a lot faster. So from here, so right now it looks like it's floating. Her dress looks like it's floating. I'm not going for that effect at all. And I don't want her dress to move up before her leg even hits it. So I don't know why that's happening either. That's weird. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete those keyframes. So let's move that down. Move that down. I don't like the way that looks because of where that is actually moving. So let's focus on this back section a little bit here. So focus on this part of the dress. Go ahead and delete all those keyframes. Whoops. Okay, so if I was doing an overlapping action on this dress, what would this look like? Okay. So right about here, I think it would be down. And then on the passing position, I think it would go up, down. Oh, I'm on smooth. Let's change that back to linear, or step. And up again. So I want to create a waving effect. Okay. So now I think frame 5. Oh, that's very exaggerated. Let's see how Victor did it. Okay, so I don't think he moved it as far out then. Oh, he actually has it moving with the motion. And then he has these two offset slightly. Okay. So I think I can keep that, just reduce the amount of the waving motion there. Nope. And then wait. Oh, wait. You know what? I think I did this wrong. So cloth overlapping action, I'm not too familiar with. I've done like hair and things like attached, but I've not done like dresses and stuff. Oh man, I almost need like an example so I can see what the reference is. I can like visualize it as I'm playing it back, but when I go to execution, it's not working out. What I was going for, or what I was hoping for, is as she's going down, I want the cloth to kind of billow out, because I feel like that's what the motion should be doing. But the execution is not working. And this dress, it looks lifeless. Just like that. Oh, man, why can't I get this right? Hey, Sir Quibble. Your other videos have helped me out a lot. I appreciate it. I'm pretty sure this video is helping nobody out. I can visualize the motion as I'm seeing it play back, but oh man, I'm just not getting the execution down quite right. Whoa, this leg's not moving. Oh, no wonder. Oh, frick. I'm missing a pose. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's probably why that was looking off. See? Dang it. So this technically is right with the dress billowing like that, but the reason why it looks so off is because that leg is coming so far forward, and it's because the scale of the leg is actually off from what I originally intended to want it to do. Okay, so let's go back to this pose then. So I think this, and the reason why this is going to look off is because there's not enough bones and there's not enough of a wavy effect to make it look like it's actually waving. So this is going to be really weird. But I think what I can do, oh, I almost want to put more bones in there so I can get it to actually look like a wave. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to get a very successful result with how it is right now. That leg, my goodness. Okay, so now let's go to our onion skins. Like that's gonna make a difference. And let's see if we can get, I wanna do a, let's see. I wanna do an easing in with the dress fold, but I can't see what it should be doing. Let's do this. My onion skins aren't gonna work because I can't see the onion skin itself. So I'm just gonna have to flip it. Okay, I think that works. This is a freaking nightmare, man. So that goes down. Should be bouncing off this leg now. There's really not much else it can do. Let's say right here it just moves back a little tiny bit. So we got this motion. Okay, and this one we can do a little bit more exaggerated. And then rather than have it moving back in all the way, I want to have it go back out. So now it's kind of, so something like that. We'll see if that works. Okay, so now I want it to react to her up and down. So right now I just have it reacting to the leg, which is why it's kind of working in parts and not really in others. So in terms of like fabric, this is the other thing that's really interesting. Depending on how you create your spacing is going to determine what type of fabric that is. So this is more like a jean dress, and this front part is more like a very light material. And I think I'm not going to get the best of result because I just have one bone moving my thing here, which ain't going to look that great. So this right here, I want to move down, and move down. Let's see if I did that right. Yeah, that kind of looks okay. Let's see if, not that exaggerated. Let's see if that works. Not really. If I was to re-rig this, I would probably have it, I don't know how many points are in this, but I would probably lay out a bone right here and a bone right here so I can have it controlling these point bends right here. And you know what? No, I don't want to mess with it. So I'll keep it like that, as is. That's a pretty simple animation. I can't really get a wave out of it. Let's do a little bit of a flip out though, and then it goes in. I don't want this to move. I want this to go down. I want this to react a little bit, so it's going to jump out after the leg hits it. And I don't want to move at the same speed of the leg, so I'm going to push that out a little bit more. And I'll move that in. Yeah, that doesn't look good, but I think that's because of just the amount of bones. I don't have much to work with there as far as moving stuff around. So I'm just going to leave that as is. Now the next part is we're going to create overlapping action on her arms. So if I go to the arms now, Eamon says that's really helpful. You're very welcome. Thanks for the nice words there. So let's do this. So for her arms, what we're gonna do is we're gonna offset them to the rest of her body going up and down by 2 frames. So one of the things that I could do, I'm trying to find where my thing is I can do, okay, so let's grab these bones here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna delete them. All right, so let's see if I can visualize this. So she's going down and then up, and okay, so right about here she's going down. So I want to position her arms slightly higher up on this overlap. And then I'm going to have them down. Whoops. Okay. This, oh, you know what? So she's going down. I did that wrong. So this, I want to have up a little bit. Okay, and so what I do from here then is, this is really hard, so I probably actually, oh man, I can't do that either, is I would have onion skins. I don't know if they're gonna work though in this case. Probably not, because the rest of her body's moving. So this is actually very tricky. I've actually never animated it quite like this before, where I'm basically just trying to find the middle position. What is this? So this is down and then up. Okay, let's do this. I got a different idea. So I'm going to find the furthest position down. And And I will have her arms up. And then I'll find the furthest position up. I'll put her arms down. Copy and paste those. Oh, I noticed her body's not moving right there. Let me check something really quick on my motion graph for my ups and downs. Yeah, that shouldn't be doing that. So this should be, these yellow ones should be right about here-ish. And these should be right about here. Come on. Okay. And so now going back to her pose right here. So that's down, that's up, that's down, and this is up. Okay, so now what I can do, or what I should be able to do if I'm thinking of this right, is these poses will be offset slightly. So I'm gonna move them, whoops, I'm gonna move them 2 frames over, copy and paste this frame. Okay, so let's see if I did that right. Okay, that should be right. Now I just need to do the in-betweens. So I'm just gonna put these on 2s really quick and put these on smooth so I can see if these in-betweens are working out properly. Because this is the part with step that is really difficult. This is where I would say it's necessary to have in-betweens. Okay, I don't like that motion. Let's see, what would that be? So her body goes down. I see. So I put it 2 frames the wrong way. So it would go something like this, I think. So I think it should go 2 frames the other way, which means that this frame would be, let's see, here, which means these frames would be here. Oh my gosh. Let's delete that. Yeah, so it should be something like that. I think anyway. That looks about right. So as her body's going down, her body's gonna go down first and then her arms are gonna overlap. Yeah, that should be right. And because it's on 2s, it looks a little stiff. But I think that should be right. And I'm gonna leave those on, those smooth on, because I don't want to do the in-betweens for those. So I guess there's some cases where it would be good. Like a lot of the animations I've been doing lately, like this guy. This is step. But it's very quick, snappy type of animation. And if I was to do something like I'm doing currently, I don't think it works as well to do all of this completely step. I mean, in a way it might work, but okay, I think that looks pretty good for now. So the next thing is we're gonna do some overlap on her backpack. So again, so this little guy up here, let's go ahead and let's remove all of his keyframes down here. So this is probably at this position. Let's do this. This might make it a little bit easier for myself. I'm gonna keep this here so I can see her up and down, and then zoom in here. So this would probably be up. And then as her body goes up, this is going to be down, probably like that. Or maybe it'll be like this. So I have two bones here. So this will allow me to create kind of a waving, flapping motion, whereas her dress did not have that, which made that a little difficult. So then this, I could probably put it back up, and then it's going to be like that. That might be too many frames, we'll see. Let's see, what's her motion doing? So she's going down. And then let's do this. And then she's going down, up. Okay, so again, you're going to be offsetting the motion. It's a little tricky, and I don't think if I executed it right here, but oh, he's coming. Is that bone detaching? What the heck? Why is that bone detaching? All right, let's go ahead and put that on smooth so I can see what this looks like. Whoa, why is it snapping like that? Oh, it didn't actually change them to smooth. What the heck? All right, I'm gonna work on smooth keyframes for a bit here on these overlaps. I think that's gonna be easier to in between. Why isn't this in betweening? Oh, it's on 2s, but hold on, let me see what's going on with the motion graph here. See if it tells me what's happening. Ah, see, it's still creating a step. Why is that? Smooth, man, smooth. And then if this kept going, it'd be something like that. Okay, let's go back to here. Whoops. I don't know why I did that. So that's going to be there. And then these should be here. That's a little too much there. And these are animated on 1s. What the heck is going on? Why is this happening? So yeah, so that technically does not look right because the motion on her backpack doesn't show that that thing should be waving that much. So I think I have the wave animation down, but that's weird. That's still animated on 1s. Why are you animating on 1s, dude? What is happening? Why is this 1s? What the heck? What the heck? Sometimes Moho doesn't want to work with you. Fine, Moho, be that way. So yeah, I think for the most part it works. It's just that the extremes could be reduced greatly. Something like that. Don't know what's happening here. Don't know why this changed up. And I'll put that back to there. Whoops. That should be going to 11, 23, 11. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. That just needs to be out of there. Oh my gosh, what is happening? So I'm just finding more and more issues occurring as I'm going through this. And I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening. So 1, 2. So I got a step here for whatever reason. I don't know why that's there. Got another step there. Oh, you know what? It's because I have these auto freeze keys on. Oh my gosh. And I'm noticing a weird pause somewhere in this walk cycle as well. Cool. Oh, I'm getting so tired of this now. All right, so I think what I'm going to do to save the most time is I'm going to change all these to smooth keyframes and just make sure they are on 2s. Oops, I just changed them to 1s. Make sure they're on 2s. So I set out my initial poses, and I'm not gonna mess around with step anymore because this is getting way too frustrating. So I'm gonna start having it do the in-betweens for me. Yeah, and I like this wave animation. I think it just needs to be a little less exaggerated. And I don't know why it keeps coming up off the top of that thing. So let's go to our translation here. That's got to be part of the rig because there's nothing here that's telling me that that's being moved off. So let's see if that's the case. Oh, that's part of the rig. Oh my gosh. So this rig, man, this rig is making it really difficult to animate properly, unfortunately. As you can see, as I'm moving this arm up and down, oops, it's moving that way too far away. Whatever. I'm just going to keep going with it. So we're going to go to this next part here. And that's these guys. I think something's broken. I think I broke something. So when this character moves, is that supposed to disconnect? Did I move the wrong part of the arm? No? How on earth did you animate this? Am I moving the wrong part? What the heck is going on? What? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Oh my gosh. Ah, this rig, man. It's not working with me. So this part right here is all messed up, so I can't even animate it because I think I moved something wrong incorrectly. I don't know. I don't know why this is doing this. It must not be bound properly. So let's do this. Let's so where this goes down at its extreme, I think it's right here. Whoops, that's up. Let's move it closer to the body to keep that rig connected properly. And closer to the body. That doesn't look right, but whatever. And then this, we'll have it closer to the body. And this, we'll have it closer to the body. So now let's copy and paste those onto frame 25. Whoops, 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 what the heck? Oh, everything else is popping out. Why? What are you? Delete you guys. This thing is falling apart on me, man. This is rough. Okay, so let's go back to this strap thing. So again, as the character's moving down, the strap's going to be something like this. Oh, I got to delete all the keyframes. So again, strap's moving, character's moving down, so the strap will be something like this. Character's moving up, strap will be something like this. Oh, they're cool. There's a little bit of overlap over the body there. I like that. Okay, let's find that pose again. On the other side. Down, up, down. And then if this was over here, it'd be something like that. And that gives me frame 25. Okay. I don't know why that's moving so high up there. Let's see, let's fix that middle pose there. Whoops, let's go back. Let's, sorry guys, running out of steam a little bit here. I'm trying to figure out what this bone is doing. Oh, nothing. That's really weird. I don't know why some of my keyframes are copying and pasting and some are not. It's kind of irritating though. It's making this difficult. So let's do this. I like that pose. Yeah, let's keep it so that that other flap isn't quite moving out as much. So we'll move it out slightly there and slightly here. Oops, that's not looping right. Let's see, what am I missing here? Oh, is there no animation on this? What the heck is going on? No? What was... Yeah, why is that? Huh. That's flipping up higher, it looks like. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's just take out the exaggeration there. Okay. I think I'll leave that as that. And let's see. I think that's everything. I'm done with this thing. Okay. So I can add a little bit of squash and stretch on her body. I can make her body bob up and down a little bit more as well. So let's do a little bit of that. And then we'll call this done. Oh man, there's still 10 of you watching. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Oh, the body's kind of already doing it by itself already. That's weird. All right, so again, the bottom pose, this is kind of where it's going to be at its lowest. And then the highest is where it will be at its highest. And let's do this actually. Let's add some squash and stretch. Let's see what I can do with these bones. With this bone and this bone. So I'm going to take out my scaling and let's see, what else do I have in here? I don't really have much else. But this one, I can take out everything besides the rotation. And let's add some squash and stretch and see what we can get with this character. Okay, I like that. We got some nice squash and stretch in there. That looks good. So let's do this then. Let's take out, oh, we already took that out. Okay, so this, I'm gonna add some squash. And then this, I'm going to add some stretch. So let's go to here, double click that, move that there, see what that looks like. Yeah, I got some pretty nice overlapping action, got some nice squash and stretch going on there in the body. And then for the head, let's do a little bit with the head here. We're going to remove all of the keyframes for the head. And let's do a little bit of a head bob back and forth. So we'll do that. And we'll do that. And we'll copy and paste these frames to here. Oops. I can't even see it. You can kind of see it. think it's moving way too slow. So let's do this. Let's move these keyframes over here. I can't see it. It's too, I didn't give myself enough rotation. So let's do a little bit more exaggerated so we can at least fix it if need be. Yeah, so there we go. Now we have a little bit too much there. So let's reduce that for these 3 keys. So I'm gonna go to my motion graph and I'm just gonna reduce the amount of rotation on that head there. Okay, that looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I think we're getting close to the end here. This took so long. This took a stupid amount of time, man. This was kind of frustrating. All right, I'm gonna save it. And what I'll do is I will do a playback of mine versus the original. And what I would like to do later at some point is do a reference of an angry walk cycle, like this kind of thing. Maybe I can reenact it. I have a backpack. And see if I can probably get something else. But here we go. Here's the playback. You guys ready? So let's see here. Let me just put text original recreation, reanimated. I don't know. All right, so here is the reanimated version. Let's take that thing off. And here is the original. Okay, and we'll hit play. Okay, so now that I'm looking at these two, I like the left one better, which is the original. So if we're gonna break down now just kind of poses, I think, well, the biggest thing that I struggled with this was the rig itself. That was the biggest thing that was really hard about this. I like the original because, well, as far as that pose, it's kind of stiff and stern as far as the posing for the character. I think it works better. I don't like the legs, and I don't like the legs in mine, but I do like the posing in mine for this walk. Because for some reason, the one on the left looks very stiff, and it looks like a marching soldier. That doesn't quite work out. I think the feet are a little bit too pointed up too high. I think for mine, if I took out the head bob, it would change it pretty drastically as well. I like the squash and stretch in it, but if I took out this head bob or just made it, again, a little less dramatic. Let's reduce it a little bit here. I think it does add a little bit more bounce to the character. Now, whether that was the original idea, I don't think it was. I don't think it was meant to the character look bouncy, but rather stiff and stern. So let's give her a little bit of straightness to her back there. Maybe that might help. Again, the head has a little bit too much motion, so let's go back into the head and adjust that a little bit more. Maybe, I like the forward motion, but maybe the backward is going a little bit too far back. Oh, whoops. Is there a pop? There is a pop. There we go. There we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Now the thing that's unfortunate is I couldn't get this backpack to quite do that because the rig was screwing up, so her face is actually covering most of that backpack part there. Again, I really couldn't do too much, unfortunately, with the strap there. I like this strap animation, but I think it's a little too exaggerated. There's a weird pop moving forward on that. I think I might have messed that up. That might have been me. Not entirely sure there. But I do, well, there's a weird crease thing going on down here. There's a weird, I don't know what that's doing. But yeah, I just like how there's a little bit more squash and stretch. I think that changed a lot. Just adding a little squash and stretch to the body made it a little less stiff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think overall 2.5 hours shouldn't have taken that long, but I think we got a pretty decent result by the end here. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wrap this up. Hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you learned what not to do. The biggest takeaway from this for me definitely is to know your rig 100%. So if you're the one rigging it, you're totally fine because you know what your rig's capable of. But as far as using a new rig that you have zero familiarity with, it definitely helps to know your rig's capability and what it can do 100%. Again, I was just going to copy the original animation, and I've not had this issue with this character. It was really simple to do all of that. But this one's has a little bit more complexity. It's not too complex, but there were just some things that weren't working properly. So, lesson learned for next time. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you later.